General Motors receiving another $2 billion in government aid today. The Treasury Department, however, not extending any new money to Chrysler, and that automaker is trying to calm nervous auto dealers, telling them that it's not facing, quote, pending bankruptcy. But with less than a week until the government's restructuring deadline, the company's options are slim. To Michigan, Congressman Thaddeus McCotter on how he sees things playing out over the next week. Congressman, you've been all over this. I know I doubt if you've had any sleep. How do you think the next few days are going to play out?
Well, Charles, I think they're going to be very intense. I think that the cruelty of uncertainty that hangs over my constituents and people in the manufacturing sector will intensify. But I'm hopeful and optimistic that by the end of the day there will be a merger between Chrysler and Fiat, and it will be equitable to workers and the retirees.
What do you consider equitable to workers and retirees? Because the word today was that they would be made whole by the taxpayer, and there's a lot of outrage about that.
Well, being made by the taxpayer is one of the things that you will hear. Again, we have to be very careful. Having gone through this, watching this as I've grown up, labor negotiations regarding the auto industry, is you will see both sides negotiating in the paper. But what's important is what eventually comes through. In the final analysis, the worst case scenario would be a bankruptcy for Chrysler, a liquidation, and then all the social safety net costs that would be incurred by the taxpayers would not be in the form of a loan.
You said they would not be in the form of a loan?
Not if you are unemployed and you go on the social safety net, no. Not if your job retrained by the taxpayers, no. So we have, and not if the foreclosure on your home continues to exacerbate the crisis and puts more people unemployed. So we're dealing with the competing costs of a low interest loan to the auto industry over time versus the social safety net costs that are incurred, which are a transfer payment directly from the federal treasury.
Congressman Cotter, no matter what happens, though, it seems stands to reason that these workers are going to have to take less pay to be more competitive. Are they prepared to do that?
They're absolutely prepared to do that. The retirees are prepared to do that. They understand, the UAW and the retirees. President Gettelfinger has been clear that they understand that this is going to be painful and the sacrifices have to be made. But they also have to try to do their best to retain as much of what they've earned over time as they can. But again, we've been going through a restructuring process for years here in Michigan. This is a continuation of it. It is an intensification of it. But no one is under any illusions that this will not be painful for all involved.
How do you feel about the notion that a great American iconic brand, Chrysler, could ultimately be owned by Fiat?
Well, right now we are more concerned about the workers and the retirees than we are about any name on the grill. We also stare the prospect of a potential bankruptcy for GM in another month. So we in Michigan right now are just focused on one step at a time, and feelings aside, we have to keep our heads about us and try to get this done.
We've got less than a minute to go. What's the thinking there about the long-term future of your state?
We in Michigan have been through some very difficult times. We've always banded together and we've always gotten through them. Charles, we know this is going to be extremely painful. We understand that this is going to be a great change in the way that our state and in many ways the manufacturing base of America operates. But we will grit our teeth and get through it. It is what we do.
Well, you have been there for your constituents throughout this whole ordeal, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Always a pleasure.
All righty.